Oh,
Right.
I am recording. Ba, ba, ba.
Yeah, I am also recording. Sorry.
That's what I was waiting for. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 635th episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Hannah.
I'm here. I'm in a new place again. Hello.
I do love this recurring theme of you just always being in a different place.
It's not easy. It's fine. It is what it is.
Bobby also here.
Okay, I have an idea for a web series. And if the Pokemon Company is listening, they should really take note of this. Hear me out. It's Lechonk and Wooloo, and the web series is called Farmin'. And Lechonk and Wooloo are left to run a farm after the owner of the farm leaves for vacation. And then all hijinks ensue. And it just is like a wild time.
Did you just read Animal Farm recently?
No, but it could absolutely happen. 8 episodes, maybe 6. And it would be great. It'd be wonderful.
I could see it being one of those one-off shorts that they sometimes just put up randomly.
Okay.
Like there was a
Sure.
Wooloo bedtime story that they put up recently for Pokemon Sleep, I think. One of those.
It's perfect with Galar coming back to Go and Paldea still being a thing. It works out perfectly.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Okay, so the next 2 episodes, this episode and next week's episode, going to be a little weird. And we're kind of recording both at the same time. So if you're watching this episode and then you watch 6:36, we might be in the same close. That's because we've recorded them the same day. But we're also supposed to have a special guest, either this episode or next episode, depending on how fast I can edit and record. So there might be a special guest after the break. And if there's not, it'll probably be next week. But I think it's going to be this week. But we'll figure that out. For those that don't know, I just want to do my disclosure here. I am traveling to Indonesia, specifically Jakarta, this week, which is a 30-ish hour flight, including like a 15-hour layover. So I'm pretty much 2 days of my life will be to get to Jakarta. I get like a layover in Japan for like 15 hours, so that's not the worst layover.
That's not bad. Which airport in Japan?
Haneda or Hanada? Haneda.
Yeah,
I think it's
close enough. Yeah.
It's one of those. It's in between one of those pronunciations. Somewhere, some syllable needs to be adjusted on my behalf.
You're close enough. You're good.
I think it gives me enough time to go to like 1 or 2 stores and get pepper lunch. I think that's the extent of my Japan experience.
Yes, that's what you do.
So I will say that Niantic is paying for my flight there and my flight and my hotel. They're kind of paying for my flight back. That gets a little complicated because I'm going to Korea afterwards. And there are different departments of Niantic that you have to deal with, and they all have different budgets. The American people have a different budget than the APAC people that have a different budget. It's messy. So that's just the disclosure there for and why these episodes are a little messy. But that being said, I'll be streaming, ideally if my internet's working. So if you want to see what an event in Jakarta is like, or you just want to see Jakarta, because you can get a 4-star hotel for like $40 USD a night there, and that's crazy. So if you want to see what Jakarta looks like, I'll be streaming it, and you can come in, you can ask questions. The dollar is very, very... If you think the dollar is strong in Japan, the dollar is real strong in Indonesia. Holy cow. So that's the next 2 weeks for Twitch. If you're this upcoming weekend will be Jakarta, and then the following weekend will be Korea. So if you want to see Pokemon Go live in those 2 countries, there you go. Okay. With that being said, we got some Pokemon news for you, starting off with the first bit of Pokemon news, which is Good Sleep Day. Now you might think there's always a good sleep day because there's always a full moon.
Yep, that's how it goes.
Crazy that moon just it's
At
just
this
always
point in
there.
time. Yep.
Real good game mechanic. They are saying this time though, for this specific good sleep day, which is the full moon is Wednesday, September 18th. If you're listening to this on a Monday or a Tuesday, they are saying that the night of the full moon, there's going to be a much greater appearance of Clefairy, Clefable, and Cleffa, and there will be a great appearance on the 17th and 19th. So much greater, or just greater.
All right.
Cool.
I'm looking at PokemonSleep.net, the official sleep website. Oh, they do say it. Okay, bonuses. You may meet certain shiny Pokemon. They are saying indirectly that the Clefairy line should be shiny boosted for these 3 days. And it doesn't say you need to go to Greengrass. It is saying all areas. So if you decide to go to Taupe Hollow, just because you like the music of Taupe Hollow, you should get Clefairy there.
It's the best music, hands down.
I agree.
So there's your event. We have no events after Suicune, so I would assume in the next couple days there should be an event, even if it's like one of those
growth weeks.
Yep, a growth week.
Yeah.
So Clefairy, where does Clefairy usually spawn? I would imagine Taupe Hollow.
I think so.
I can't remember. It made its debut somewhere. It was probably just Greengrass that made its debut, but
I don't think I've ever seen a Clefairy or Cleffa or anything in the game.
I do kind of like, I don't think this is a mechanic, but I do kind of like the concept of like certain Pokemon being missing until there's like a full moon, because you can at least guarantee there's going to be a full moon every month, and then those Pokemon come back.
Yeah.
Because they can keep adding new islands, which they've only added one since the game has come out. They could keep adding new islands, but they could also keep adding new Pokemon. But like, it's almost like a Pokemon Go thing where feels like they almost have to like rotate Pokemon out. Or I kind of wish they would rotate Pokemon out because I'm kind of tired of seeing Ekans.
Yeah,
it's just
that
everywhere.
Makes sense since you like only see so many a day. Like you can only see so many a day. So it as they add more and more and more, it could become a bit of a problem if there aren't like certain times when they've rotated certain ones out. If they're not adding, like to your point, if they're not adding more islands.
Eventually they probably will, though I don't necessarily want them to do it in the same way that Pokemon Go has. I'm still kind of dissatisfied by the way Pokemon Go does that.
Like if you're working on like the Rattata medal, and then there's like no Rattata for the next 6 months.
Yeah. Sometimes you just can't come across a Pokemon that you want to find.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, just looking this up, and I don't know how I just never remembered this. Apparently I've studied 9 Cleffa. I have all 4 sleep styles, but I never caught any of them. Huh. So I guess I have seen Cleffa in the game.
Some people really
not
like
super memorable.
Metronome as an ability.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, yeah, it would make sense.
It's just like fun for them to have something different every time.
I like Metronome. I like using it with like just throwing a Togepi in there from time to time, and Metronome's a fun mechanic.
How was your Suicune week, Hannah?
I was moving, so the first week I didn't really play. The second week I did the bare minimum, and that was at first on accident, and then I kind of decided I kind of want to see if I can still get a Suicune while doing the bare minimum. Now, what I consider the bare minimum is recording the sleep each night and feeding Snorlax at least once a day.
Okay.
That's it. Doesn't mean tapping on any of my Pokemon, doesn't mean gathering any berries or any ingredients or any of that, just sleep and at least one meal. And I did get a Suicune, and I did get the Skill Seed, and I was able to get a good number of the candies, and checking in with friends and all of that.
Oh,
so that's also bare minimum.
Yeah.
Because I was getting some Suicune main that way. So I did get only one Suicune, but I was playing the bare minimum through the second week and didn't play at all the first week, and I still got a Suicune. So
Wow.
I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Bobby,
and now
how's
that
yours?
I'm starting to settle a little bit more.
To clarify, you didn't use a Master Biscuit on this Suicune, right?
No, I had to use 2 incense because the first time it showed up, I got it almost all the way, but it still needed one more biscuit.
Got it. Yeah, my week has been fine. I went to beach and I just used one more incense to spawn a Suicune just to see if it would be. I was just gonna if it was hungry or like somehow was shiny, that I was gonna then try to like catch a second one, but it was not. So I did get all the other stuff though from all the main I collected. So I got the skill seed, the stone, the water stone, all the handy candy, all the water candy, and I think I'll probably get one more incense just to hold on to for some future potential Suicune spawn for some reason.
I went to Lapis.
Oh, how was that?
Miserable.
Oh no.
Did you get your Ralts? Any Ralts by chance?
I got 1 Ralts all week.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it good?
No, it was not. It was main skill down.
No.
I also got 1 Dedenne all week.
Okay.
But I didn't get a shiny Dratini. Also bad. But I this is the highest I've been at Lapis, which as of this morning I'm master rank 10 on Lapis, which I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm seeing new Pokemon at master rank 9, 7, 8, 9 at all. That I like. There's nothing new I've gotten. I wish I saw more Dedenne. I wish I saw more Ralts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if like the Paldea Pokemon are somehow boosted, but I feel like I've just seen so many Quaxley and Quaxwell all week. I guess they're water, but like there's other water Pokemon, but I just feel like the Paldea Pokemon still kind of like dominate Lapis.
Interesting.
In a way. Which isn't like the worst, but also I haven't gotten a good Quaxley yet either.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
I got a Quaxley with helping bonus and berry finding S, and I was like, you're not a berry, Mon, you're ingredient.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But I think I could have gotten higher on Lapis if I had a better meal. I had desserts, which originally when I got to Lapis, I had curry, and I'm like, this is my 5th week of curry. And I should have probably tried to roll for salads, but I rolled once and I got desserts. And the 2 other berries that came with the water berry were just, I just couldn't match them at all. Mm-hmm. So that was hurtful. I think I said this last week, but I barely ran. Like the water Pokemon I ran for both weeks were just Blastoise and like Quagsire.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like using other Pokemon to like fill in the ingredient holes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That was me too. Like my only water Pokemon I was mostly using. Well, I did put Suicune on the team, but I was using Quaxwell, and then I would use some like from time to time I was putting in like Blastoise, or you know, or maybe Feraligatr from time to time. But like for the most part, I was using other stuff just because I was trying to get the ingredients, because I have salads this week, and so just trying to level up like Ninja Salad, you know. So it's like, okay, well I need all these ingredients, and they don't have them on water Pokemon, you know, like they have large leak on Quaxwell, so I'm like, that's great, that's keeping me using that, but like otherwise I need other Pokemon that aren't water Pokemon so I can make these meals, which is a little frustrating.
Yeah, my Quagsire is triple mushroom, which is fantastic, but not for desserts, because it's just like literally one dessert that uses mushroom, and it's like that tea.
Really should have re-rolled.
I should have re-rolled, yeah. I thought though, like, because I had, so because sometimes I rotated Slowking in, and Slowking was like Slowpoke Tail, Cacao, and then Blastoise is like all milk, and like milk is mostly used in dessert. So I was like, maybe desserts will be fine. It was not fine, but that's okay.
I feel like milk isn't used in any of the higher point desserts, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those starter ingredients from the very beginning.
And for alligator was like sausage, and it's like literally no desserts use sausage.
Yeah, you should have just kept curries because like if you were rolling through 5 weeks of curry, you probably have a bunch of stuff leveled up already. So like
I did, but I wanted to work on my desserts as well. I don't know.
That's fair. I've been continuing to use my good Vaporeon that I have a pretty solid Vaporeon. And through this week, I mean, I said I hadn't necessarily been tapping on Pokemon. When I did, Vaporeon would just double skill trigger and fill my ingredients bag right on back up, and it was great.
I forgot Eevee's a skills Pokemon. I need to get a Vaporeon immediately. I did not even think about that it's a skills Pokemon. Oh, geez.
It's so good.
The other thing is I got 2 Suicunes. I can probably get a third Suicune tonight if I wanted to, but I might just do incense and hold on to it. And then I got the main skill seed. I got the other thing. I got the extra biscuits. And then I thought to myself, I was like, man, I thought I could buy a lot more compared to the past events. Did I really play this poorly? And then I realized last night I never went into the reward screen and redeemed all of the main.
And I feel like there was more main in these rewards than in the past events.
Yeah, because I went from like 300 last night to be like, man, I just thought I would have more main. And then I redeemed it all, and now I'm up to like 700.
Yeah, that
like,
sounds about
I can
right.
buy so much.
Wait, you never redeemed you mean your missions?
Yeah, I never did the missions all week. I just... Because I'm that player that like doesn't tap on the when you get the points every night and it's like plus 200 points plus like I'll just let it sit all week.
Oh my gosh,
and so it gets
can't
up to
do
999 plus.
Yeah. Because that animation takes so long.
It just have it's like, oh, you're someone who just leaves the red bubble on your phone, aren't you? Like you don't mind
I
having
have
the
to get rid of red
notification?
bubbles.
Because that's what gets me is like I have to get rid of anything that's like a notification
I see.
bubble in any way.
I've gotten to the point where I can leave the notification thing on the caught Pokemon one because that's pretty much always been there. But the animation that you can't stand, Steve, is actually the one that I don't have a problem with. That's a very satisfying animation to me, and so I'm happy to click on that button.
The point animation?
Yeah.
So if you don't click on the point animation and it just builds every day, and then eventually when it gets to 999 plus, so when you click on it, does it actually show you all, like does it actually increase by all of the points that you've been missing out on? Oh, that's a good feeling too, though. That's like
no,
that's
the number
like watching
goes up.
It go up so much.
No, the number goes up. It's satisfying. I think that's still my biggest complaint with Pokemon Sleep is the game itself, the menus itself just feels slow still. I know they've increased it since release where it's gotten a little bit better, but it's just the game itself just feels a little slow still.
I still do not want to go through the menus to click on my friends and open up and get those friends bonuses, even though it's such a big bonus and such a big help. Going through the 2 clicks that it takes to get there takes so long.
It does take a while, and then with the main near it, because then you have the extra like where it like switches over to like, oh, and you also got all this main from everybody. It takes like an extra bit of time. There's one menu in Pokemon Sleep that is very quick. Is it maybe opening up Pokemon, like opening up going from like looking at Snorlax to clicking, I think it's like the Pokemon storage, not going into the Pokemon storage, just like going from looking at Snorlax to...
I don't think so. I think the one I've found that's quick is going to the shop when you're interacting with Pokemon in the morning.
The store definitely loads quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, especially in the morning when you're doing your research, the store loads especially quickly, and so I always actually intentionally try to claim my daily free gift while I am doing my morning research because it takes less time to get it then.
Free gift every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that as well. Okay, it's actually just the main menu. So when you're Snorlax to clicking main menu, that's immediate. That is no load or anything. But then when you click on anything in there, you have the loading screen that takes a few seconds for everything, right? And it's like sometimes you click the wrong thing and you're like, no, and you got to go back, and then it's another loading screen, and it's just too many loading screens. So I will say, like, that is the thing about Pokemon Go that is great, is that when you click anywhere, it's so quick, like compared to something like Pokemon Sleep, where it takes forever to get
Sleep
anywhere.
or Pokemon Unite.
Yeah, I don't think Niantic gets enough credit. Well, Niantic doesn't get a lot of credit for anything. But when Niantic did that huge like frame rate boost update,
that was huge when they did that,
and they just
some
did
people
it overnight.
Still don't know.
Yep.
I mean, it kills your battery life, but it feels amazing.
You do what you do.
I've gone back to people who have not done the update to like help them catch a Pokemon or something, and I'm just like, it's like a night and day different game. And if Pokemon Sleep ever gets an update like that, whew.
I feel like they already have some frame rate settings in Pokemon Sleep. Just doesn't help that much.
They do?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, to switch gears a little bit, this was announced just like a day or two ago, but there's going to be an exclusive Pokemon pop-up store in South Korea. That's going to start. This is off the official Pokemon Korean Twitter, but also we have a Bulbapedia article about it here. But it's going to start Monday, September 23rd and run until Thursday, October 10th. If you don't know, like, Pokemon is super big in Korea, and they have their own, like, Pokemon Korea is its own thing compared to like Pokemon Japan or Pokemon EU or the Pokemon Company International, which is US mostly. But it will be opening up later this month at Starfield Suwon Shopping Center in South Korea, featuring merchandise from traditional items from Korea culture themed after Eevee's evolutions in Pikachu. The products available will include a goblet, a notebook, a pen, phone grips, a metal stand, a key ring, folding screen, like almost like a D&D screen. That's the best way I can explain it. And then the pop-up store will be located on level 1 of Tower Atrium of Starfield Suwon, and it will open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily between September 23rd and October 10th. They are saying on the Twitter post that it is purchase limit 3 per person. I don't know if that's like 3 goblets per person or like 3 of one of each item per person. They're not very clear there. I'm assuming that the timing here is because the Safari Zone is also happening that time frame. But looking this up on a map, which is kind of hard because Google Maps is not very intuitive for South Korea, it is about a 90-minute train ride from Incheon, where the Pokemon Go event is happening, to this mall. So convenient for me because I'm getting to Korea a couple days before the event, so I'm going to try to go down there. But if you want to look at these items,
and they are beautiful items.
They really are. Yeah,
I can't tell if that goblet is ceramic or plastic.
Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
either way, I think it's neat. It looks, the reflections on it and kind of the rim looks like ceramic.
Yes.
Yeah.
The notebook looks awesome. Everything looks great. But if you want to see what these items look like, we'll put in the show notes.
Is there a reason that they are doing the Safari Zone and like maybe adding this in this pop-up store at this time? Is there a holiday or something, or like
there
some
is.
kind of?
It's like Korean. I think it's Korean Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I don't know when I say Thanksgiving, I don't know what that entails compared to an American Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But it's why flights go up in price around this time. And this is technically the third Pokemon. Well, I think Korea's had 4 Pokemon Go events because they had Goyang, which I went to. Then last year they had Seoul, which I also went to, and then this year's Incheon. And then I think it was last year, and it was like a week before the World Championships. They had the Korean event on Jeju, which is like an island a little south of Korea.
Okay.
And they had like exclusive Pikachus that you could only get on Jeju Island, and they kind of did up that island. So Niantic does like Korea. Like, there is a big Korea loves Pokemon. Like, there's no doubt here. Like, it's like there are no Pokemon centers in Korea, which is really weird because there is one in Taiwan, there is one in Singapore. Those are the two non-Japanese Pokemon centers that exist. The one in Singapore is in the airport. So if you ever have a layover in Singapore, there is a Pokemon center there. The one in Taiwan opened almost a year ago in December. Easy prediction for anyone. I would imagine that there will be a Pokemon center somewhere in South Korea, probably in the next like 3 or 4 years. Easy. There's like no way.
Yeah, that would make
South
sense.
Korea, they still have Toys R Us in South Korea, which is kind of funny.
Very nice.
So in Seoul, there's a huge Toys R Us, and in the Toys R Us is what's called a Pokemon Zone. So it's kind of like a mini Pokemon Center.
That's cool.
I actually streamed it last year, but like it's a ton of Pokemon stuff inside a Toys R Us, inside a huge mall in the center of Seoul. They had like pretty much every set of cards. Like that was when 151 got released. So I have a bunch of unopened Korean 151. They had every set before that. Korea has their own Pokemon exclusive merchandise that you can't really get anywhere else. So I think there's like it's one of the ways like Japan and Korea are like trying to repair their relationship because there's like a lot of bad history there. But like, I do feel like the Pokemon Company gives Pokemon Korea a lot of attention. Like,
good.
Yeah, I feel like in the TCG as well, Korean Pokemon cards are. It's like you have Japanese Pokemon cards, you have like international Pokemon cards. And I feel like Korean Pokemon cards, they get like special sets sometimes, or like special stuff as well. That's a little bit different. It's almost like treated in a way that's a little bit more, I don't want to say special, but it's like different than like the international stuff as well. They get like extra stuff with the Korean cards sometimes.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before of switching gears over to like Niantic and Pokemon Go. If your country or your city, if we're talking about the United States, really wants tourism, then you have to bid for those events, right? You have to bid for F1 to come to Vegas. You have to bid for. I've been told that Anaheim desperately wants San Diego's Comic-Con, and they keep trying to bid to get San Diego's Comic-Con to move to Anaheim.
Yeah,
and eventually you offer enough money where you make that happen. So I do think there is a lot of like, we know Pokemon brings people to our country to boost tourism, to promote tourism. So I think Korea just keeps bidding, and Niantic is good with the money Korea is paying. So yeah, we'll see. That's why I think like next year's Go Fest is probably going to be New York. I do think that they signed a multi-year deal to bring that tourism to Randall's Island and stuff like that. But
yeah, that's understandable.
But yeah, I'm going to take a 90-minute trek out to this mall and hope that things aren't completely sold out and it's not a nightmare. And
yeah, maybe you will get to experience the people climbing over each other for these special exclusive Pokemon goods. Hopefully not.
I don't know what that looks like. But all right, let's take a break, and when we come back, there will be a segment. Whether that's a guest or not, I'm not sure, because we're recording multiple things early. But we will be right back. And we are back from our break, and we're here with our special guest that I alluded to earlier, ZoëTwoDots.
Surprise. Hello, it's me. I was hiding here all along.
waiting in the background.
Yeah. It's like in a little hatch under the floor, just kind of like simmering, just waiting. Yeah.
We've been going to all of these Go events for years together. And I don't think you've ever been on the show, but you've been on a bunch of other Pokemon podcasts.
Yeah. I can't remember if we talked about it or if I like dropped in for a quick thing or no, I don't think I don't think so.
Yeah, I've been in, no, that's okay. I definitely have been in the background of your videos multiple times.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think I've definitely like grabbed your streaming camera multiple times and gestured at the live audience. So, hello.
Yes,
Hello,
my Twitch chat always very excited to see you.
That's wholesome. That's very kind.
Yeah, so we were supposed to have Bobby and Hannah here, but they both had different things. We recorded 2 episodes today because I'm traveling to Jakarta. So trying to get... Are you going to see
Jakarta? I was about to ask if I was going to ask you at the end of the thing if you're going.
Yes, I wasn't sure who was going to Jakarta. You're very close to Jakarta. I am not.
It's the closest one for me, but it's still like a 7 and a bit hour flight. But yes, it's close. Yeah.
For Australia, as in 7 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to get as many things done as possible before Jakarta because that's very far for me.
Yes. Yeah, true. Minnesota too. That's probably one of your longer ones, right?
It's the longest I've ever. So I'm
wow.
13 hours to Japan, and then I'm in Japan for a night. And
that's
then
smart to break it up. Yeah.
And then another, I think, 8 hours from Japan to Jakarta.
Sheesh. You can do it if you got the break in between. The happy days, like
I think the break is going to make it much easier to.
1,000%. Yeah.
Yes,
Can vouch.
I'm very okay with just getting one night in a hotel. I was about to
start giving you like all the tips of like what to do, and then you're like, I stay for a night. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, he's fine. You'll survive.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a long enough layover where it's like hotel is okay. Yeah,
that's good.
Okay, so we're here because Pokemon Go released a very big feature. I think it's very big.
I agree.
Niantic talked about how it was very big, and they've spent however long working on it. They're very proud of it. Which, take that for what it's worth. I think there are things that Niantic should be proud of. But they definitely said they're very proud of this. So I wanted to talk to you about this new feature because I think after the first week of actually doing it, not the like pre-game week they did,
the warm up,
the warm up week. I actually think it does lay a foundation to the future of Pokemon Go as like a feature.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like I feel like it was kind of funny in a way where it's like seeing all the people commenting online like before the feature was even out, giving a judgment, and I'm like, it's not even out yet, like sort of thing, like, oh, this feature's gonna suck and blah blah blah. I'm like, we don't even know the gameplay, like Luke, yet, my guy. Like I don't even know yet. Like let's just wait and see. But yeah, it's kind of like it's interesting. I'm very curious, like for the long term goal of it in a way, because I guess it is insular in that you can only use your Dynamax stuff to do Dynamax stuff. It's kind of a new grind potentially if you want new things to work towards and power up. It feeds into the daily loop gameplay pretty well as well. Yeah. I don't hate it. Like I don't dislike it. I'm just curious to see where it goes for sure.
Raging review. I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't hate. Hey, Zoe doesn't hate. I don't hate a lot of things, honestly. I think you have to like really try, which sometimes they sure do. But I feel like it's still. I don't know. What do you? Have you guys seen? You probably like discussed like the functionality already on the podcast. Like people know how it works, or
no. We discuss. I guess we would have been discussing the functionality this week because last week was still the pregame week, and I think all of us last week were really excited for the potential. But we had the questions of like, how much does it cost? How many raids can we do? What's the actual flow of it? But I was excited in itself of just seeing after 8 years a new POI on the map. And
yes, Yes, 1,000%. Like, there's been so many, like, especially early days when we didn't fully know the whole, like, has to be in its own S2 cell and 20 meters away from an existing POI and whatever. I had like suggested a bunch of Pokestops that never got put in because they were like a meter too close to an existing one. And it's like now they're actually in the game and functional as a raid den sort of thing. I'm like, oh yay, at least my hard efforts didn't go to waste. But also then, like, even if you'd never been someone who had submitted a POI, I've definitely noticed like so many more of these, I keep calling them dens, the power spots. I keep seeing so many more of the dens in like residential-ish areas because it's feeding from like Google businesses and stuff, and people have, you know, businesses in regular residential areas that have never been a POI. It's like giving something to do in like a suburban area where usually there was nothing, which is kind of nice as well. That's refreshing for me, at least, where I'm like, oh, I mean, I guess I could go for a little walk and interact with that. That never used to exist there. That POI didn't exist in the game. So, yeah, that's refreshing.
Yeah, for me, it was like, I was saying on the podcast that I don't like releasing starters or releasing 2 extra Pokemon, like this drip feed that they started doing with like Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5. Like, it's just not enough to get me out of the house. Like, I can just pin app the Grookey. I can just pin app the Score Bunny. There will eventually be a Grookey and Score Bunny community day, so it's not like that big of a rush to like evolve them. And I'm sure for some people, they were like, Cinderace is my favorite Pokemon. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get as many Score Bunnies as possible. I will do the same thing when Cramorant gets added to the game. I will go out and get as many as possible. But for the first time in a long time with Pokemon Go, just seeing new points of interest on the map and just being like, I don't know what that does yet. I want to walk to it. I want to spin it. Okay, I collected something. Oh, there's another one. I want to walk to that. I want to spin it.
Yeah.
That in itself was just like so exciting. And it did make me go down. I've lived in the same neighborhood for 2 years. It made me go down streets I've never gone down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was like a community garden over here. I didn't know there was like a workshop over here. I didn't know there was like a tech store over here. And I think
have used that example so many times as well, because like when the game first dropped, like that community garden thing was my first thing that I could see on my nearby. Was like, I didn't know we had a community garden, like, and it made me go and explore and check it out. Like when the game first dropped, so I feel like it's very similar in that way of, hey, you didn't know this was here, go and check it out, sort of thing. It's very incentivizing to explore.
And I think we were both at the Seoul Pokemon City Safari, and the way they laid that out with like the flowers and the Pokestops was like exactly how a tourist should explore Seoul. Yeah. Like, oh, it's taking me to all the places that like these websites or these TikToks would recommend. Like, whoever laid that out, just fantastic. But I do think like, here's a bunch of POIs, and now like you have a reason to explore maybe your same area. I don't know. Maybe you live in like a city of 1,000 people and you're like, I've definitely been everywhere.
I mean, there's definitely businesses I didn't know about for sure. Cause like, again, cause like the data is half, I don't know if it's half or what the qualifiers actually are, but it seems to be feeding from Google business info plus POIs that are just slightly too close to existing ones. I'm assuming if there's no business data, they just flipped and used the POI one. Maybe it's just random. I have no clue. But yeah, there's definitely still surprising ones for me where I'm like, oh, like I Newcastle is like big, but it's very spread out. So it's like where I am is like one of the quieter bits. So I've seen most of my town, but like there's still definitely plenty that I haven't and wouldn't have known about, sort of thing. So yeah, it still definitely gets me. I'm curious if it will keep getting me out of the house, but it's like it is more points of incentive when there's more of it, you know? Like I said back in the day, like when the daily incense and that sort of thing came out, I'm like, if you tell people that you can get a legendary on an incense, people will go out and use it. It's unfortunate that the birds are so rare half the time that is then counteractive and a bit demotivating, I think. But you know, I think there's probably a nice balance point for all of that to get people out and exploring and playing the game for any feature.
I feel like now that we've done the raids, the Dynamax raids, and I know you're not a huge raid person. You're not a player that's like, I'm doing 10 remote raids a day, and now they nerfed it to 5, and now I'm doing all 5 a day. And I'm the same way. Like when I'm at an event, I'll do raids. Or if it's a Wednesday night at 6:00, I'll do raids for sure, because it gets like people together and it's much easier. But I was never I did it for one Pokemon, which was Deoxys. I sat there and I pulled the lever every time to remote into Deoxys. Yeah. Of all the ones, it was Deoxys. But I was never the remote raid, like I'm going to do as many as possible. But I do feel with like the Dynamax raids, it almost feels like a soft restart on the raid system. And it's like, it almost feels like, to compare it, like your current raid system that exists with the remote raid passes and everything, that feels like World of Warcraft legacy, like the old World of Warcraft system. And then this feels like a newer,
it's like the
system.
Rebooted, the refresh, the 2.0 sort of thing.
Right. Because you're ultimately starting over. You have to first do your mission and get your Wooloo, and then because I actually played with people in New York over the weekend, and I was like, oh, there's 4 of us, this is perfect, let's do the Squirtle.
Cool.
And then 2 of them didn't ever do their mission to get their Wooloo, and it was just blocked. They couldn't join.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, you have to do the intro mission, you got to get the Wooloo, then you can participate with us. But it is like Niantic and we said, you have to kind of start over. Your Kyogre or your Zekroms or your Zacians cannot go into these raids.
Yeah. It's kind of like a cool, like a blank slate in a way, where no one can kind of get left behind. If you're starting fresh, it's starting easy. It's just the starter Pokemon. Like, they're not too difficult. Yes, you can solo them, but it's going to be another, I guess, a new grind, a new like kicking off point to build a new set of Pokemon in a way. Because you can still use your Kyogre and whatever else for regular raids, for gyms, whatever else. I'm so curious what the, like, I feel like it's going to be self-contained for a long, long time. And I feel like, myself included, it's like, I kind of wish I could Dynamax, one of my existing Pokemon. But then that would defeat the purpose of the new system in a way. If you could just do it to the ones you already have.
Right.
Like maybe in years down the road, I can get some max soup for my Pokemon. But yeah, it is refreshing though. Like I haven't had a chance to do the Dynamax battles with like a large group of people yet. To see, have you been able to do? I guess you said on the weekend you have worked with people. So far I've only had like me and Alan doing battles. Yeah,
I was only able to do it with one other person, but none of the raids I have been difficult enough to. Like I've never gotten to like the second or third Pokemon in my party.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious. Like I just meant like as this like the social aspect, like if it is getting people out in groups again, or if it's more because it's a bit more passive and it's not as difficult yet, that until we see something like Gigantamax Lapras, bring all your Bulbasaurs, everyone, like hope you powered them up, like until we see something more challenging, maybe it will just be a bit not solo but a bit more low key until that point.
I think like speaking of solo, I think the leaving a Pokemon behind to help other people is really clever.
Yeah.
And I think that helps solve the live in the middle of nowhere and there might be other Pokemon players, but I haven't seen them. But you would see them you would see them, I guess, if they're taking your gym. But like at least the coordinating together to be like, I don't know how to get these people here.
Yeah. At least then you know there are people, like, especially if you're like, if you didn't know or if people don't bother with gyms in your area and suddenly you're like, hey, there's 5 people that have left a Wooloo in this, this den. All right, maybe we try and find them. And then you can do raids together and do like, have a community sort of thing, have a community day with people that you didn't even know, lived around the corner from you sort of thing.
Yeah. Like I went to Mall of America for Pony Talk Community Day, and that was the first time I've gone to Mall of America since the new points of interest were added. And there was like 7 max, well, I'm going to say raid dens because like they're raid dens, power spots. And it was crazy to see how like almost all of them would have one person and then they disappear, and then all of a sudden one person, they would disappear. Like people were just going in and doing them constantly. And obviously these raids currently are easy enough to do it, but it was cool to see like, oh, we're like sneaking raids in between Pony Talk Community Day and we're still doing the legendary raid or whatever, the 3-star raids that were there. So it felt really natural, but at the same time it was like, oh, I can just ignore this. I can just do Community Day. I'm not worried about Dynamax. So I am a fan of video games that will introduce new features, but then not force you to do them.
Yeah. It's not like it's not going to be game ending if you don't participate. For now, at least, I guess.
For now, yes.
Yeah.
I suppose if you wanted like Gigantamax Lapras or Gigantamax Venusaur, you would have to start participating, or probably what everyone assumes, like Eternatus.
No, but remember in that bit of there was that promotional video that said, if all your Pokemon faint, you can just cheer for your friends. So you can still just be a filthy casual and get your 3 other friends to carry you. Hopefully, hopefully 3 is enough. To take on, whatever big baddies they bring out at some point.
Yeah. I like the fact that you can do multiple of these raids for free. So our current our current structure with raids is you get 1 free raid pass. And for me, I would try to save that free raid pass for a 5-star raid.
Yeah,
because that's a more rare Pokemon. You get better rewards, you get more experience, all that stuff. So I always felt like a disconnect between like, why would I spend $1 on a 1-star raid when I could spend $1 on a 5-star raid and get significantly more rewards? Yeah. And I feel the same about remote raids. I'm never going to remote raid into a 1-star Pikachu.
I unless it was something where it's like an event exclusive and I can't be there, and I'm like, okay, I'll get the one that's from that location, maybe. But I'm like, I refuse to even remote if it's in my own country. I'm like, that's still too close for me. I can't, like, it's like I feel like it has to be a decent raid, like overseas, so I get the trade distance as well. Like all of these factors to make a remote raid worth it for me. Where I'm like, I'm probably not going to remote raid like a 1-star something that's down the road. I'm like, thank you, thanks but no thanks. I agree though. It's like, because you can just do multiple of these in a day, and then plus if you've stashed all of your I keep calling them Orbeez, if you stashed your
I like Orbeez, okay, stashing the Orbeez.
If you've stashed your Orbeez from the day before, you could, or from the week, if you got the full 1,000, you could go out, smash out a bunch of these max battles, and then keep earning your MP through the day and go do some more if you wanted to. Like it's almost like a self-governing raid train in a way. Like back in the day, like for raid weekends and stuff, we would genuinely like get the squad together, get everyone in like 2 sets of cars and like go around and do big raid days, because you knew that every gym was going to have, raids popping every hour or whatever else. So it kind of feels reminiscent of that, where it's like, hey, go and do a bunch. Plus it's free. Like, hell yeah, I'll do that. Why not?
No, it feels. I was worried with the pre-gaming week that. I guess my one complaint, and I think I saw this complaint a lot. I'm curious what your thought is like the limit of 1,000. It feels a little tight.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a little. It's just a little bit, like a little bit too little. Like in my mind, I can kind of see it where it's like, well, because it's little, you have to do something with it. Where it's kind of like, if you want to go out and do a bunch of them tomorrow, but you can't pick up more. I think it's that frustration of like when you have something there to claim, but you can't. Like that's really annoying. Or if you're at a stop and it's like you can't claim it, like that sort of rejection like is really irritating. It's like you can't clear a notification or something. It's like I think it's just bothersome. But I've been trying to look at it in a way where I'm like, why would you make it that limit? And it's kind of like, well, if that limit then forces you to actually use the resource, like give your best one a better move or unlock another move or power up the move or whatever else, like you're probably actually going to have to do it. Like I've actually used some MP to, I got lucky traded one with Alan and it went like 98 and I was like, hell yeah, it's a good Blastoise anyway. It's 98. It's going to be probably my best Dynamax Pokemon for the next 100 years because I'm so unlucky with these things. Sure, I'll give it the extra move. I'll power it up a bit because I can't collect any more today and I have stuff that I can still collect before I'm capped. So it's made me use it. I've still never spent a single XL rare candy. I just have 200 of them sitting there because I don't know what I want to do with it. There's nothing forcing me to do it. There's no part of like, well, I can do raids with friends and it's not, oh, if only I had that maxed out, insert Pokemon here. Or, you know, it's just sitting there until I decide what to do with it, I guess. Whereas the MP sort of situation, it's like you need to do something with it. Otherwise you can't get more, in a way. That's the only way that I can think of it being so limiting, is that it's going to make you use it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I think once the pregame week was over and you could spend it on raids or more raids or powering up, it was like, okay, cool. I can do like 4 raids and then I can spin 8 stops and now I'm refreshed and I can do that same thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think like I don't mind I think it's you can do 8 stops before it starts. It's weird because there's like multiple limits and I think that's the frustrating. So you have the 1,000 limit and then you have the spin 8 limit.
So it's like it's 1,000 limit, but then 800 per day cap. But technically, you can get more than 800 per day if you like interact with X number of the dens and then claim your walking bonus on top of it. So basically, I get up to 700 and something, then claim your walking, which is 300, and that'll push you straight to the 1,000 in a day.
Yeah.
But say if you had already spun the 8 stops and then tried to claim your walking, it's like, no, sorry. So then you'd only have the 800. So it's kind of like, because there's all these different technicalities, it's, I think, still a bit confusing. And yeah, the 2 different limits are a bit weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like one of those limits needs to be like slightly looser, or at least let my walking push it over no matter what. Because I think the walking one is really clever. Like if you don't have a lot of POIs in your area, you just go for your adventure incense.
Yep.
Do your adventure incense, get your 300 from walking. And that's like, I don't know. I'm thinking of like everyone complaining about this feature before it rolling out. And then me being like, am I wrong? Am I the one wrong?
Am I?
Because I feel like everything they thought of is actually kind of decent.
I think once the actual like the battles came out, that made it a lot less, because it's very easy then to just spend 250 of the MP and it's like, cool, problem solved. Like you're spending a large chunk of it to actually participate in the battles. I think that I don't know. I feel like that alleviated some of the frustration, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I think if you had like at least that one walking, you could just claim it to push over, because then you'd be working towards the next one for tomorrow sort of thing. That sort of incentive there. But I'm curious how it's going to work once it gets to like the bigger, like the higher level battles. Because then it's like, well, how much do we need? Like what the Beldon ones are going to be tier 3, right? 3-star?
Yes, which I think is like what, 500 points instead of 250?
Yeah.
Or 400.
400 or something? Yeah, I can't remember 100%, but it's more. But I'm curious how that's then going to factor in, if it's going to be like, okay, now the 1,000 is frustrating because now I really don't have enough to participate, plus, you know, spend on powering up or whatever else. Yeah.
So as a person who is not huge on raids, because these raids are pretty different, are you leaning into these more of like, oh, these are, because they're different, because they have this loop, I'm more interested in doing them? Not, I guess, because they're new, yes, but like,
yes, but I can't quite put my finger on why, I guess. I don't know if it's just because of habit or like it's ingrained to do it. I think it's because like if I had a 1-star raid down the road right now in the exact same spot as a power spot, I probably wouldn't be motivated to go walk down and do it. But for the power spot thing, I'm like, oh, if I keep getting atrocious Charmander so far. Like if I see a Charmander, like maybe I would, because in my mind it's like, well, I'm probably going to need this in the future to have a decent one, sort of thing. So I don't know if it's just because it's something that I think that I need. I don't know. I guess because there's a lot more of them and they can be a lot closer. Like, again, like from me walking to the shops or something, like I could do 3 or 4 of these things, not just like my one free raid pass, I guess. So in that way, it's like maybe more value for your time. That you can do quite a few of them. But
do you feel like almost starting over? I mean, I guess it is starting over. Do you feel like that's a negative? I mean, you did mention that, like, oh, I wish I could Dynamax something I already had.
Yeah, but I think there's just that FOMO of like, I would love to see, one of my existing Pokemon, like, oh, look at it, like it's a Gigantamax, like, yeah, cool, that's my guy that I caught back here. Like, that's more the sentimentality of it. But in terms of like functionality or whatever, I'm not mad that I can't, Dynamax my current Lapras. That's fine. I can live with that. I don't think it's bad in a way. I think it's almost like another milestone, or not milestone, like another objective in a way. Like for me, I loved when level 50 came out because I'm like, I have a checklist. Let's go, baby. I got quests, like, but I already had all of the XP I needed. So for me, I hit level 50 crazy quickly, even though I was trying not to. And then I was like, no, well, now I don't have a little checklist to go off. Like, and every now and then I'll remember that, like, oh yeah, platinum medals exist. Maybe I'll try and work towards those or whatever else. But I feel like in terms of end game and long term, there's not a crazy lot to do unless you're into PvP and you want to build up like your ideal team or get a bunch of hundos for Master League or something. There's, depending what you like and enjoy, there might not be, an objective for some players. Whereas I feel like, starting, depending how difficult it gets, you could treat it like a prestige system in a way, where it's like you have to get, you're starting from level 1 again. Choose your starter trainer. Like, here's your Charmander, and go and walk and get your MP and go and get your Dynamax Charmander. Like, because you're starting from the bottom level here, and if the end goal is Eternatus or something, like you're gonna have to grind again, which I don't think is necessarily bad. Like, maybe there's people that don't like those sorts of systems that would be frustrated by it, and that's totally valid as well. But I don't know, I feel like having a new something to work towards, I enjoy. I don't know if it's just like my little rat brain likes nice little tasks and nice little lists and things. I'm like, ooh, a thing.
Yeah. I think there's like so many players that they either want to fill their Pokedex, or they want to catch as many shinies as possible and fill that shiny Pokedex, or there's players that want 100s. They want those perfect Pokemon, and then there's those hardcore players that want shiny perfect 100s, where they'll keep on doing Moltres until it's shiny and it's 100.
Yeah.
And there are levels where like I kind of care about that. Like, I definitely care about completing my shiny decks. Do I care if that shiny is good? No. Like, for me, it's like, I got the shiny, I'll move on. Yeah. There's players that care about like Luckies. There's player that cares about the Nundos, the 000.
Yep. There's people that just do AR photography. Like, there's people that have so many different things in the game where it's like, they don't want the regional to complete the Pokédex. They want it to take a picture of it at this cool location that they think it would look really sick in. Like, there's so many different goals and objectives for so many different players. Like, I don't know. What do you feel about it in that way? Like,
I do feel like, I mean, I think the overarching question is like, how does Pokemon go another 5, 6, 7, 8 years, especially since we're like almost done with the Pokedex.
Yeah,
we're
we're
almost
catching up
there.
quick. Yeah,
And I think this is a way, whether you want to call it padding or not, but I think it is a way to collect Pokemon again. You're just collecting them in Dynamax or Gigantamax form, and I guess somebody could roll their eyes at that, but that's what I've been doing for 28 years. Like I bought Sword and Shield. I caught all 400 Pokemon. The DLC came out. I caught all 250 of those Pokemon, and then Scarlet and Violet came out, and I could have waited, I guess, for Pokemon Home, but I was like, I like catching these Pokemon, so I'm going to catch them all over again. I probably caught Poliwag.
Like good point in a way where it's like we've been doing this for almost 30 years where it's like, oh, this is just starting from scratch again. And it's like, my guy, if you've played Pokemon Yellow, you've been starting from scratch every 5 years. Like,
right, yeah,
true. Yeah.
Like you could refuse to catch as you go through and just transfer what you've caught before, minus the Game Boy to Game Boy Advance thing where you couldn't do that. But I like genuinely like collecting the Pokedex, even though I remember I completed all of Pokemon Violet, caught all the Pokemon, and then I had to do Scarlet, and I had so many people in my Twitch chat be like, I can just trade you. It's like, brother, I have them all.
Yeah.
But I'm catching them again because I genuinely like,
because I want to do it. Yeah. Yeah, I guess, Sword and Shield was the first time I ever like completed a Pokédex, and I was like, I felt very motivated to do it. That had never been my objective in previous games, but I was like super I can't remember, I guess why, but I don't know. Yeah, it's like maybe since Pokemon Go as well, where it's kind of like that very much get your little checklist and color in that little grey silhouette sort of thing. Yeah, true. We've been doing it since day one. Been doing the same. It's still fun though, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh my God, what's the definition of insanity? But it's like, but we're having a good time. So,
Yeah. I also think like how I also think about like new players, right? Of, you have this raid system that has existed for 7 years because there was no raids the first year of the game. But like, how do you jump into this to be like, well, you have a 4,000 CP Kyogre, and the best thing I got is like a 1,400 Wartortle.
Yeah.
And to have that, like, okay, we're all kind of starting over, but like your old stuff is not invalidated. Your old stuff can still be used for the things. To me, that feels good. It feels like, do I think the system is perfect? No. Do I think Niantic has always made the best decisions? Of course not. But like, I'm trying to see like the negatives of this new system, which isn't just people complaining for the sake of complaining. Like I genuinely think this is like a good foundation for the next at least year.
Yeah, because it's kind of like I don't see any outright negatives to it because you could just ignore the feature altogether. Mm-hmm. And then assumably, like even if you ignored it all the way up until potentially Eternatus, you can probably just trade that bad boy at the end of the day. If you really didn't like Dynamax and Max Battles that much that like you just abstained from the entire life cycle of it, at the end of the day, you could probably just trade for the things that you missed. Like, really, unless there's some sort of like, there shouldn't be. Like, there's only ever really mythicals and things that you can't trade as far as I'm aware, and shadows. But like, unless there was some sort of weird new trade rule thing, you could just avoid the whole system if you hated it that much, if it somehow just bothered you that much. But I don't see an outright negative in it, like as a feature. Kitty. Like it's I don't really have any, it's like I don't really have any hard feelings about it either way, because it's kind of just like, I'm here and here's how you use me, and it's kind of pretty easily fitted into a daily gameplay loop, so have fun. And I'm like, oh, all right, it functions and it does what it says on the tin, and it's fun. Like it's like a different little raid kind of style, and I'm more curious to see when it is something a bit more difficult, because they're so quick at the moment being the level 1s. It's like almost you just sit there and not do anything and it's done. I'm definitely curious to see like how the strategy plays in when it gets a bit harder. I think that will be interesting to actually have to have a bit of strategy or communicate. I'm going to heal and you do shields, and then Steve, you attack. Like, I don't know. That'll be fun, I hope. But yeah, I guess the one thing I will say that is like the coins to like upgrade your rewards.
Oh,
Like, sure, if you want to make that a thing, whatever. Maybe there's someone who cares about it. Move that button somewhere else. That is dodgy. That placement and the fact that it's the coloring. It's like there's like
dark pattern there.
Yeah. There are like full on. So there's certain countries where that's actually illegal. You can't make a purchase button the same color as like if you already have an established like game language where the green button means like progress to the next mission or whatever, and you suddenly make the purchase button the same color in the same placement. Like games have been forced to change it and move it before because it's considered like predatory in a lot of and illegal in a lot of places. That for me, I'm just like, that button is dodgy. Move it somewhere else and make it like red because you know, magenta, match the theme of the dens or something. That to me is like, that's no. It is, and I've lined up the screenshots. It overlaps with where like the go to bonus challenge button is on raids.
Regular.
So if you're from your muscle memory just pressing that same placement, I guarantee you someone has accidentally like fat fingered the upgrade by accident.
I've never pressed it. Do you know if there's like a confirm afterwards?
I don't know because I don't want to be the one to, I'm like in a way I'm like maybe I should test it because it's like as the creator I'll take the fall. But like I don't want to spend my coins. I threw myself in gyms for those coins. Thank you very much. Like, yeah. But I don't know if there's a confirm button. It might be worth.
I feel like they should move it to the top of the screen where you have to actually like.
Yes.
Well, phones are so big now that you'd have to like reach.
Yes, it has to be like a conscious thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, that's my one negative about the feature.
No, that's a good negative. Like I definitely saw that and was like, oh, people are going to complain about this, rightfully so. But in my brain of like my mobile brain is like, oh, I just ignore it because it's like I'm so used to other games asking to upgrade. Yeah. It's like
I don't care that it exists. Like, the fact that it exists in, again, mobile gaming and stuff, it's like it's become part and parcel of, do you want to upgrade your thing? Do you want an extra life? Whatever else. Like that, I'm like, sure, whatever. Yeah, it's purely the placement and the color for me that I'm like, wags finger it. No. But I guess like, maybe there is a conversation in there as well about like the fact that it exists is that like, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's always technically been a free-to-play game. There's still people that I know that are fully free-to-play, have been since day one sort of thing, and they're, level 50. And like, there's no... could you imagine if it was like, watch this ad to hatch your egg faster, or like come back in whatever hours to like see if you got a lucky egg? Like that would be like so disgusting. Like I would hate if Go had those sorts of like mobile game things in it.
Oh yeah.
So in a way, like sure, if someone wants to upgrade their rewards and choose to spend their coins that way, whatever, more power to them. I probably won't. But,
I probably wouldn't either.
Unless they are like some phenomenal, like unless, Gigantamax raids are giving you some crazy rewards where I'm like, oh, maybe. Like, but at this stage, God no. Like, I'm not putting 200 coins into a raspberry. Thank you very much.
With so like the Dynamax raids rolled out, but there's like the whole season. How do you feel about the whole max out season so far? We have the Oranguru Passimian Research Day. There was the Phalanx Day. There's the Psychic Spectacular. Like, as a season, how are you feeling?
I guess like I hope that there's a few more like little interesting things throughout the season. Like, sorry. Like I hope that they kind of lean into like the flavor for Halloween and stuff, where it's kind of like have some kind of fun Dynamax things built around that. I hope that we see at least one Gigantamax before the season ends, sort of thing. Otherwise, I think it will be a bit of a like, yeah, it was fine. Because it's a cool feature, I feel. And then I missed the Phalanx raid day, sadly. The Psychic Spectacular, awesome. It's kind of like new Dynamax Pokemon plus a new Pokemon as it is, like Hatterene and stuff. Cool. I like them. Something new to catch. I'm cautiously optimistic for it being like a good season. I guess for me, like sometimes it's been getting better over the last few years, but like sometimes it would be like, the end of year sort of stuff would get a bit quieter because, it's winter for you guys in the Northern Hemisphere, and like Southern Hemisphere is like sick. We get like no good raid bosses and like everything's a bit dull, like when we can go outside, but sure, we have to go out in the cold weather. And so I guess it's looking good, especially for like going outside and playing sort of stuff. There's not like, I don't know, it's kind of like there's nothing that's making me like, oh my god, like I want to run out and pump my fists in the air and like crazy celebrate, but at the same time I'm not just like skip, which I have been some seasons where I'm just like, nah dog, I'll see you next month. Like I'm not, so at least I feel like I feel bothered to do it. Like I feel like there's things that I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get out and check that out. I feel like there really needs to be like a Gmax or something, or like something more tricky early on to really get people to be like, all right, champions, you've had a couple of weeks to get your foundation. Like, go and see your friends again. Like, go and play in a group again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we have those massive peaks where it's, the Go Fest events, and, we had 200 people at one of our local parks. And I was like, whoa, everyone's back. Like, this is crazy. Like, I haven't seen all these people in one spot in so long. And then it's like, all right, bye, kind of dries back off. So if it does foster those communities again, I think that's going to be like add to the fun of the season. What about you? What are you feeling season wise?
I feel like it is a good season, and I don't know if it's like a good season because there's a whole new mechanic, but I think like the Hatterene event specifically, it's like, okay, we're introducing a new Pokemon, but we're also introducing a new Dynamax Pokemon, and that just feels like there's more to do, especially where like I have all the megas, so anytime they're like, we're bringing back this mega, it's like, okay, skip. Like, I got so much candy of that. I'm sure some people have missed it, or at any point where they're like, we're bringing back Articuno or Lugia or Kyogre, like skip. Like I did all that too. So I guess my excitement with the Dynamax and why I'm positive on it is because it feels like when there's an event now, there will also be new Dynamax stuff, and it's like, cool, that's what I care about. And other people might be like, oh, I'm gonna wait till they bring back I don't know, Cobalion or something. Where for me that's like skip.
When's Lugia coming back? It's been a while since we've had a Lugia, right?
The emergency.
Look, I need
Lugia
some
button.
candy for but
I guess the like local only of Dynamax doesn't bother me because one, I'm in a big city. So that's never been like a super big problem. I totally understand people in not big cities with no one to play. I get that. I've always said Pokemon Go is like an incredibly unfair game. Just based on where you live. Like I've been to the middle of nowhere for an entire week, and if I would lived here, I would never play this game.
But it's at the same time though, it's like it's very unfair, yes, for rural players, but at the same time I'm like, talk to your friends. Like if your friends don't play Pokemon Go, just like, hey Timmy, come and play Pokemon Go with me. They're like, oh, I don't want to play that. And it's like, well, I do, come and play, and then we'll go do something you want to do, sort of thing. Like, I don't know. At a certain point, like unless you're that rural that you literally are on like, you don't even see your neighbors for a month at a time, there's probably going to be someone else in the town, and if not, like talk to people. Like, hey, you heard about this game? It's pretty fun. Like, do you have a mum? Ask your mum to play with you. Like, so many people have like had really good relationships and friendships and like family connections like get way stronger because of the game being like, and so many parents be like, oh, what's this silly game? Oh, what do you want me to do this for? And it's like, come on, mum, just like come for a walk and, you know, catch these creatures. And then it's like something they do every week then, and it's like a really nice little habit or like nice little ritual sort of thing. But yeah,
it could be that maybe I don't have like social anxiety, but I like remember games outside of Pokemon Go where you needed, like Destiny is the example I always bring up. Like there was no in-game way to form a group in that game, so you had to go to like a subreddit or go to a fan-made website, and post that like you're looking for other people, and then you just with strangers, you just like you got the thing done, and it would take an hour and a half, and you would do that. I would do that 3-4 times a week, and but I get it. Like if you don't want to be the person to start something or to say hi, I totally get it. But
I totally understand as well.
I it's been so long since the remote raid price increase, and I think Niantic's not really wavering on the local aspects of these games.
No, I don't think so. It's kind of like, yeah. I mean, I guess through their actions and stuff, it's like they've shown that they're not. I don't see them changing that anytime soon.
But I don't want to say like this feature is bad because it's local only. Because
no. I don't think so either. I think there's probably still going to be enough legs in it to do. Like, I'm curious to see, like, when Beldum comes out, this week, can you do it solo? I want to test out doing it solo with one that's not powered up, like my Charmander, 3 Charmander that you haven't even given a special move to. Can you do it with your, one Charizard that you've not powered up its moves with? Like, at what point can you kind of still, if you were that one person in the middle of nowhere with, you don't have your mum to come home and play with you either, like you are that guy, could you still participate, sort of thing? Yeah. So I am curious to see how far you can push it if you're willing to, do the solo play side of it, and still be involved. Yeah.
Like, what's the difference between doing the raid with, like, let's just say Beldum, and you're solo, doing the raid with a Charmander solo with no people that left any behind, Charmander solo with 5 people who have left something behind, and then like Charizard, no people, Charizard with 5 people. Yeah, like I think the adding people should matter.
Yeah. It says so it does. It alleges to. Yeah.
And like, how strong is Charmander at 1500 CP versus 3000 CP versus like, there's just so many factors that I think like that's what makes me excited for like that legwork. Because even though I played this feature in the biggest city in the United States, New York. I was in New York. Yeah. Every gym had 5 Pokemon in it, or Power Spot had 5 Pokemon in it. So.
Did you see like, have you seen like what the maximum is? I don't even know what the maximum is.
I think it's either 5 or 6.
I've seen ones with 15 like left in them defending.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what I was like, I'm like, the biggest I saw it get up to in my area, I haven't checked in a few days, was I think 16, and I just forgot to check before it ended that night. But I'm like, I don't live in a crazy busy city. Like, I want to see like Tokyo or New York or whatever else. Maybe someone's posted it by now, like what the actual max is.
Yeah, in New York, it wouldn't let me leave any Pokemon behind. It was just like full. So maybe there was.
I think the default view is you can see 5 standing in front, but then the top corner where the trophy, like where the little trophy is in the corner, will have a number next to it, and that's like how many people are in there. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because I always saw like 5 people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious how many you could leave, but I like the leaving the Pokemon to get candy and helping other people. I just like, it was like, maybe, I don't know. I would love to be in a meeting with Niantic, but it would be like, we have this current raid system. How do we make it better? And I feel like they did.
Yeah.
At the cost of like, okay, everyone's going to start on this everyone's going to start in the same place.
I think they can still live. Sorry. I feel like both systems can still like live coexist, sort of thing. Like I don't think everyone's gonna like suddenly. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think everyone's gonna suddenly like quit doing raids because Dynamax battles are here. Like I don't think it's all over, sort of thing. But I imagine there'll be like a bit of a pivot where it's kind of like Dynamax will be the golden child for everyone's like, oh, this is the fun. Sorry, this is the fun new thing. Let's do this for a bit. And then maybe it'll like balance out a bit more. Yeah, I think it's fun. It's fun, she says tentatively, like hoping that nothing bad happens and they just change it in as of this date and time. I think it's fun. Yeah. I hope it stays fun. Yeah.
I was told to ask you about AR, and they've made some changes, and I know you're into the AR stuff. So how do you feel with the current changes of AR? I know that wasn't like recent, but
I was like, something's changed. Which one? Which changes? Like the AR clippy.
Yeah, the clippy, and then they added like the 3 Pokemon, which was I think.
Oh yeah. Sorry, like the refresh. Yes. The clippy outy thing. So that was a bit before. I think that still looks a bit jank depending what phone you're on. But the new, in a way, I'm kind of sad that the taking a photo with your friend thing is gone. Like I get it. It was a pain in the butt to get it to work correctly a lot of the time. But it was still nice. Like the sentiment was still nice. I hope that they bring back something like that, even in this new system in the future, because that is like quite sweet. The fact that you can just take like 3 of your own Pokemon in, position them, the rotation feature thing is so much better. Like it is so much smoother. I think depending on phone and even for me still, and this has been a thing before the update, my AR will perform differently if I'm using the Google Store version or the Samsung, like the Galaxy Store version of the app. The AR is so different. I think they need to sort that out, like that it is, and even iPhone for AR is like smooth as. It's really annoying that there's so much discrepancy between, like I'm still on it's the same phone, but just swapping between the versions of the app, it is different. It's to the point where like sometimes I can't even place a Pokemon on the Google Store version because it just won't find the floor, and I'm like, please, for the love of God, just like it's a wooden floor, like it's flat, it's not that difficult. And then you'd open it up the exact same spot on the other app, and it's like places perfectly. But yeah, I think it works a lot simpler. Like the fact that you can kind of like drag and drop to place them where you want them to be is a lot better. You can control like flying Pokemon and being up in the air versus standing on the ground. Big fan, big thumbs up. Like I think overall like a massive quality improvement. Now they just need to make it so that the photo quality is actually photo quality and not like screenshot quality. That would be aces.
I swear like the first year of photo stuff, it was photo quality the first like year and a half, I think. And then at some point it was just like, we've changed
screenshot,
yeah.
To it's a screenshot. And I'm like, why though? Like, I don't know. That bothers me still to this day. And even, I get big mad because I'm like, I want a nice quality photo. Like I want to be able to like post it. It doesn't look like crunchy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But big thumbs up overall for the update, I think.
Cool.
A lot easier.
Last question, so we don't run super far over. If I think this, I guess I thought of this question when I saw people upset about Dynamax, because I feel like they might be upset because 1, they don't care about it, but 2, they maybe think that like Niantic could be working on anything else instead of this. So if you were able to convince Niantic of anything, and I know Niantic does listen to content creators is maybe a stretch. They do hear us. I don't know if they...
Yeah. My message has been seen, you know, with the 2 ticks. Seen.
They at least see the messages, whether or not they listen. So if Niantic was to listen, what would you tell them that needs to be fixed or worked on, or what changed in Pokemon Go? Like if you could convince them to do next.
This isn't going to be like a fun one, but I feel like I've been saying for ages, I'm like, can we just take a month off and you just fix the jank? Like, for the love of my battery depletes at an alarming level these days. Like, I playing Pokemon Go now with all of these features. If my phone is plugged into a power pack and playing Pokemon Go simultaneously, I do not gain charge. It will hold the line. It'll do these ones like it's holding that like 50% for dear life, but it will not gain charge. And I'm like, this is not an old phone. Like, this is insane. Like, what is going on with the optimization in the app? The amount of lag that I get now is getting really frustrating. Just overall polish. Like, that's for me. I'm like, give me a month of Lugia raids, you know, if it means that I love Lugia. If it means that the just the overall game state was a little bit more functional. Like, there's still a bunch of issues with GBL that have been going on for forever, and like I really just want it to be like a tightly performing, as little laggy, frustrating things as possible, because there's just so many things piling up at the moment. I'm just like, it's getting annoying, and I'm like, I don't want to be annoyed just playing the game day to day regularly. Like, if I'm getting frustrated at just like sick, I can't even go for a walk without having to carry a power pack these days. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
But if I was gonna make, if I was gonna answer the question in a fun way, are we saying like I could change anything in the past as well? Like, or we're thinking like new features? I feel like, I mean, if we change things in the past, everyone's gonna be big mad if I didn't just say like remote raids.
But you're not a big raider, like, so I don't know if that's like a fair answer.
Huh?
I said, but you're not like a big raider yourself, so I don't know if that's a fair answer. No, I know,
but I'd be like, I'd take one for the team if it was guaranteed, okay. You know. And Zoe had the chance to, she had the Make-A-Wish to make anything happen, and she didn't. Everyone would be so annoyed at me. I don't know. Let's just say, okay, I'm not going to change anything in the past because they're probably not. Give Australia an event. I feel like there's a lot of other really cool potential features to be explored. Like, the gyms need a rework in terms of like what's going on with gyms, or do they? I don't know. Maybe they can just stay how they've always been. I've always been curious of how they would implement, you know, breeding in the game, where it's kind of like, you know, hey, Dreepy just came out. Do you want a guaranteed Dreepy egg? Go and see Steve down in the park and make your Pokemon high five, and then, you know, you both get a Dreepy egg. You have to walk a bit longer because it's a guaranteed, you know, it's a insert obscene amount of kilometers here. I don't want to give them ideas, so I'm not going to say too many kilometers, but like, you know, you both get a Dreepy egg, and you can only do that once per week, but it's guaranteed to be, you know, a Dreepy. Then go and meet up again the next week. You know, you got that in-person social interaction. You've got outdoor exploration because you have to go out and find them in real life. You're going to have to walk longer to hatch the egg. You know, I think there's a lot of other fun, cool mechanics that could be introduced that aren't just go to POI and battle big one.
Oh, sure,
yeah, because it's still fun. Like, again, the max battles and stuff's still fun, but I feel like there's definitely room for more creative ways to still have all of those things they want with the social, the exploration, the like physical activity, and not just be go to gym and battle, go to gym and do raid, go to pink gym and do raid, essentially.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see them explore something like that. But please just fix the lag, for the love of God. That's my request. Yeah.
I always thought it would be cool specifically with Legends Arceus. I don't know how much of that you played.
So much, too much. A criminal amount.
But like, Niantic knows where parks are, because that's where nests are. So they know instantly what is a park, what is a mall, what is a parking lot.
Yeah. Why are all the spawns there?
I thought it would always be cool to, like you said, instead of just going to spot battle and then you're done, which is pretty much all the POIs at this point. It would be cool if you could do the what was that dome that would appear? the distortion.
Oh, surely they're gonna have to do something like that now. Oh my god,
it would be cool if a park could have a distortion.
Yeah.
Even if it was like once a day for 5-10 minutes, and you could see that a distortion is going to start in like
you
2
see the
hours.
bubble in the distance,
Yes.
dude. That'd be sick.
And then that would encourage players in the neighborhood to be like, oh my gosh, a distortion at 3:00. Let's walk to the park. Inside the distortion is Pokemon that don't normally spawn for 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden you have forced people to come over that isn't a raid, that isn't a battle.
It's a bigger area. It's like a wild catch area. Like, Steve, sign this man's check. Like, let's go. Pay the man. We got ideas for days over here.
Yeah. And I'm surprised there wasn't anything around. I mean, when we went to Sinnoh Tour, it was like 15 minutes of this, 15 minutes of that.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of doing it because the sky would at least change color. But
the sky thing was cool. I'd be cool. I think that would be excellent. Like distortions as well, because again, it's like a visual on the map you could see. It's an incentive to go over and walk to do it.
Right.
Other people are going to be there because everyone's like, what's this thing? Like, I would love for things like that in the future if we didn't get, the month's notice that it was going to happen. Like, could you imagine opening up the game and you just see a glowing bubble, a glowing dome in the distance, and you're like, what the hell is that? Like, and actually be like, excited. Like, don't tell me about it, just surprise me. Like, they haven't done a surprise shiny in a while where it's like, that's exciting when people are like seeing, oh my god, there's screenshots of this, like, did they announce this? And it's like, no, what? Like, I think that was Gibble was the last one that was that, I think.
Oh gosh.
And that was so long ago. Like those little exciting things, bring it back.
Yeah
More of that.
What was
the distortion was sick though.
I would also like them just to admit it and do a subscription at this point and not just
where did they go? Where did those go? There was those weird monthly things, and then they disappeared, and then
there's like that.
I was like, surely
thing.
They're gearing up for like a season pass or something, and then it just disappeared.
Yeah, just charge $10 a month and like include your 99 cents things, and because I feel like when I log into Pokemon Go, it's just like, this is $1, this is $1, this is $2, and it's like, just give me a
lump it all into one thing.
Right. I mean, you could still have people cherry pick, right? If somebody just wants one thing, sure, but like, I'm gonna buy it anyways.
Or just do the big combo deal where it's just like, here's your season pass, you get bloody every ticket that's on the menu except for like Go Fest or whatever, like the big if you're going to an in-person event, whatever, sure. You need to pay staff that are like working the event, whatever else, I get that, but like, here's your season pass, you get every single like com day ticket in there, you get the extra gift sending and opening bonuses, you get your little coin bonus per day, whatever it is, and it's just like, that's your price, that's done, like, set it and forget it.
Yes,
happy days. Like, just rip the band-aid off. Do it if you want to do it. Stop like doing 30 different microtransactions. It's so annoying.
I think that would just make the store cleaner, and the people who do want to spend money, I think that's like less, it almost feels like less stressful, because it's like, okay, I'm signing up, it's all included, I don't have to figure out what I need to buy or not buy. I don't know. I just feel like just pull the band-aid off and just do the subscription at this point.
I agree.
Cool. Well, thanks for being on. I didn't know I'll see you in Jakarta, but see you.
Hey, I know someone.
Have you been before?
Yeah, actually, it was a really, again, last minute thing a few years ago. They had like an event for the local language, like the Bahasa in game, like Pokemon Go. Let me start that sentence again. Pokemon Go launched the local language in Bahasa Indonesia.
Oh, yes.
And for that event, there was like a whole thing for like it was like a 3-month event, I think. Like 4 times XP, like blah, blah. And then it was also tied in with like this shopping center had like a big promotion thing for Christmas. They had like live PvP battles, whatever else. So I was like, I went and competed and whatever else. And it was really good. It's the same location as one of the locations that they've kind of like highlighted, the PIK. But there's like all the little extra bells and whistles. For that was just for like the game, like language launching sort of thing. And there was so many like side activities. There was like the Pokemon Marathon. There was like so much. So I'm very much hopeful and looking forward for the Jakarta.
I don't think there's a race
safari,
this time, though.
It's like city safari, because it's kind of like it's going to be, hopefully, if it's anything like last time's one, it'll be all out. So yeah, should be good.
I would have ran if they had a marathon, but I don't think
there's going to be one for this event as well. You want to go?
Oh, is there?
Yeah,
I'll do it.
I'm like, I don't know what we need to. We could go spectate if we can't get Bibs to go and compete. But either way, let's do it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we'll take a break before we go. Zoe, where can people find you if they want to keep up to date? I don't know if you're using Twitter anymore, or if
just generally lurking in a hatch under the floor, associated with any sort of ZoëTwoDots handle, ZoëTwoDots. Yeah, I'm still begrudgingly on Twitter, I guess, at the moment. I need to use Threads more. On all the socials, Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitch, all that good stuff. Yeah, come and find me lurking under a hatch. I don't
buy in Indonesia, you can find Zoe there too.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Zoe. And when we
you.
come back, we will be talking about competitive stuff in VGC. So we will be right back. And we are back from our break. All right, there is some more Pokemon Go stuff, but it's involving sports. Us three being the pinnacle expert of sports here.
I did sports in high school.
I like sport. I don't even know what you're talking about. I like sports.
I played sports. I just don't watch sports.
Okay, all right, that's fair. This is off MLB.com, Major League Baseball. For those that don't. Okay, so there's like a Pokemon Go event specifically. This is Pokemon Go, but also sports related. I'm just going to read what MLB.com says here, how MLB is advertising this, I guess. It says, whether you're a Team Instinct, Mystic, or Valor, we're inviting you to our first ever Pokemon Go night on Friday, September 13th. So this obviously just happened, but they're saying first ever, which means more are coming. Check out the details below with exclusive tickets. So here's the details. Join in with other trainers in a one-of-a-kind raid battling featuring Pikachu and a special surprise with a guaranteed location background. Take part in exclusive timed research granted to fans within the ballpark after 7:10 p.m. Explore the ballpark in a all new official route. I would assume the route is just to go around the outside of the stadium, right? Most stadiums are circles.
Yeah.
Rectangles, maybe.
Or ovals.
Ovals, yeah. Score a Mariners-themed Pokemon Go t-shirt that represents your team colors. Plus, stick around after the game for a dance firework show featuring playlists curated by world-famous DJ Diplo. And then the Niantic copyright, Pokemon copyright, etc., etc. Your purchase, so for specially paired $42 for main level or $26 for view level to the Friday, September 13th game. Your choice of Mariners-themed Pokemon Go t-shirt. Please note, t-shirts must be selected at time of purchase. So for $42, you're getting main level view of the baseball game, and you're getting a t-shirt. And then for $26, you're getting a worse view, but you're still also getting a t-shirt?
Yes. So the way that this typically... Okay, so a couple of things. First off, this is specific to the Seattle Mariners. So this was not like every baseball stadium, right? There are 30 teams, 30-ish teams. I don't know if it's 30, 32. I forget where the MLS expansion put it at. But so this is specific to the Seattle Mariners. A lot of times when they do these event nights, so Steve saying that, like, we're not sports experts. Okay, I grew up with Padres season tickets, so I went to a lot of baseball games growing up.
You know what you're talking about.
Here.
So when they have these special nights, there's usually a giveaway of sorts. And that comes with whatever you've purchased, right? So you typically purchase a ticket to the game, and then you get some giveaway, maybe a hat, maybe a shirt. So in this case, it does sort of look like there were only two prices, like the main level and the view level. I'm sure there are many other tickets you can purchase for different places in the stadium. But it is weird. Like, I don't know if you had to purchase one of these two specific tickets to get the shirt as well. Like, if you bought the right behind the home plate, like $500 ticket, did you not get a Pokemon Go t-shirt with your purchase that night? I don't know. But yeah, typically like this kind of giveaway shirt or whatever, it comes with when you purchase a ticket when there's like a theme night for the game.
Okay.
And
the price seems really good. These seem
Yeah,
like prices you could usually just get a shirt only for those prices with the Pokemon tax.
yeah, that is true. I do wonder what the quality of the shirt is. So sometimes it's not. They're
They
not
looked okay.
great.
They looked okay, I think.
But so my question is, and Hannah, maybe you can expand on this, but the first line here says, join in with trainers in one-of-a-kind raid battles featuring Pikachu and a special surprise with a guaranteed location background. Like, is the special surprise the guaranteed location background and they gave it all away in one sentence? Or was there like a third thing here?
It seems like it was just the location card. So, full disclosure, half my family went to this event. I did not, but they drove over to Seattle to go see the Mariners play.
Is it because of the Pikachu or is it because of the Mariners?
Because of the Pikachu, I think. My family plays Pokemon Go.
Nice.
You didn't go?
I was moving.
You're moving, yeah.
Yeah,
I've had a lot going on.
It's important. That's important.
If you weren't moving, Hannah, would you have gone to this?
Probably not. I don't.
Okay.
I don't want to be at a sports game until 1 a.m.
That's true, because you got to drive back after
3
the game.
hours away. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
tough. That's tough.
But my family went, so I got pictures, I got some descriptions, I have some firsthand news on what happened there.
Nice.
I do think that it was mostly just the location card Pikachu, which is neat, and I'm gonna get one of those, so I'm excited. It was a Pikachu with the baseball field as the location card, and it actually looks pretty neat there.
Yeah.
And it has the Seattle Mariners logo on the field and all of that, so you can tell exactly which game it was from. I was told that the home team won, which meant that the vibes were really, really good the whole time.
Oh, okay.
Like
That's
they
good.
said for the event, there was the fireworks thing afterwards. That means that after the game, everybody was still happy for that.
Got it.
I was told that there was a really long line to get the t-shirts, but it was handled really quickly.
Okay.
That there was somebody dressed up in a Pokeball costume that was making sure everybody was in the right place. I did ask if it was a ball guy costume. I sent a photo to make sure. It was not. It was just somebody wearing a giant Pokeball. In a different way.
When you saw the photo, is it like Pokeball, or this person just kind of made it themselves kind of thing? Like official?
I think it was not official, like a Party City Halloween.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Spirit Halloween Pokeball Halloween costume.
Are we sure this person was actually associated in any way with this, or did they just show up in a Pokeball costume?
They were checking to make sure everybody had the right ticket to get the right shirt. So
I would do that too if I showed up in a Pokeball costume.
No guarantees, but it sounds official.
Got it.
I don't know if you can answer this question, Hannah. Was there only one raid, or were there multiple raids so a person could get multiple Pikachus?
I know that you could get multiple, but I don't know how many.
Oh, okay.
That I know my family members got more than one.
Okay. So I would assume that maybe they were popping like a Pikachu raid, maybe at the start of every hour.
Maybe once every hour.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So did any of your family members get a shiny Pikachu?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe
I think they would have told me.
Maybe the surprise was it was shiny boosted?
That was probably it, because I do know some people got shinies.
Okay.
which is going to be one of the rarest shiny
Yes.
Pikachu out there.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like it was a good event. There were items with the routes and all of that. It seemed like it was really good vibes. Everybody was kind of working together as you do at an in-person Pokemon event. And then during the special things they have during normal baseball games, I guess, like they had a thing where it's called Hot Dogs from Heaven, where they throw hot dogs with little parachutes into the crowd. They had somebody in a
hold
Pikachu.
On. Why am I not going to baseball games? This sounds awesome.
I've never
Maybe
I've grown
it's a
up with season
Mariners
tickets. I
thing.
never experienced hot dogs on with parachutes.
I can get exclusive Pokemon and hot dogs raining from the sky for $42. It's like
Maybe it's a Mariners thing.
subscription.
Yeah, especially because hot dogs at baseball stadiums are like $12 each. So,
Well, apparently it was a Pikachu throwing the hot dogs from the sky. So
This sounds incredible. So, wait, going back to the Pikachu. I know we talk about like the rarity of Pokemon and Pokemon Go. Like I don't think that Black Hat Pikachu is ever coming back. That was like part of like Fragment or whatever, that like design collaboration. You can maybe argue that the Luffy Pikachu from One Piece probably not coming back. Although I think more likely to come back maybe than some other stuff, especially if like I could see like the final One Piece or whatever, whenever One Piece is done, like they could
like
do
25 years.
Yeah. In like another 50 years. It's almost like, is this Mariners Pikachu going to be like statistically, is it more rare than Black Hat Pikachu? Because Black Hat Pikachu was at least worldwide.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was how many people go to a baseball game? I don't actually know.
You could,
like
I was told that there were
the
probably
most.
at least 300 people in the line for the t-shirt.
But as long as you're in the stadium, you could have done the raid.
I think so, yeah.
So I don't know how many people the Mariners Stadium could hold, but assuming
because
half those
presumably
people
not
even
everybody,
care.
Okay, so
Yeah,
T-Mobile Park is where the Mariners play baseball. This stadium holds 47,929 people.
So if 20,000 people, which I think is still really high, 20,000 people did those raids, that's not a worldwide event, right? So like, does this make this Pikachu, and assuming also that that location card doesn't come back, like if they do, night 2, because they said the first time ever they're doing this, is the location card going to be different the next time?
Yeah,
Possibly.
Considering that blog post was by MLB and not specifically the team, I could imagine this happening with multiple teams and kind of going around for maybe a full baseball season.
Well, so the way that the way that the websites work for these sport, at least for like MLB, NBA, NFL, it's MLB.com, but it's the Mariners specific MLB page. So if you're actually looking at the page that has this announcement on it, it's a Mariners specific page. You can buy tickets for Mariners games. It gives you the schedule for the Mariners. I see. Yeah. So it's like Mariners.com, basically. It's like their specific MLB page that is talking about this event. Not the MLB.
So
in
maybe it will become less rare over time if this keeps being a Mariners specific thing.
And I was wondering if
because
the Pokemon Company has a headquarters near Seattle, that's why this was happening with the Mariners specifically.
Doesn't like Nintendo own part of the Mariners? Isn't that like part of the thing?
Do they?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I do not know the answer to that one. That would be very interesting if
Nintendo of America. They sells the majority of its interest in the Seattle Mariners to the current owner group. They did at some point.
So I wonder if
Nintendo still retains 10% ownership of the team.
There you go.
After the sale was completed in August of 2026. I could be completely wrong.
Wait, what?
Yes.
August of 2026 has not happened
when the sale is complete.
2016, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I was like,
So Nintendo still owns 10% ownership of the team. So I think that's probably
part of it.
Part of the reason why this has happened. Either way, I think what a cool collaboration to get. Like, the only time I've ever gone to a baseball game, I've probably been to like maybe 5 baseball games in the 36 years I've been on this earth. I think every time I've gone, it's just because I got free tickets. Like, somebody was like, do you want tickets to the game? And I'm like, sure. And then I go, and then I have a pretty decent time for somebody who like doesn't watch sports.
Mm-hmm.
And also like the hot dogs are always like good, but like, I don't think I've ever stayed for a full baseball game, but I've never regretted going with my free tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, it's something to do, and it's stadiums are pretty cool. Like, I think the other time you ever go to a stadium is like for a concert, but like stadiums they're like malls, really. Like, there's just shops
depends
and
on
food.
Depends
Stadiums
on the stadium,
are like
but
malls. Yeah,
they
you're
are
not wrong.
Yeah. I mean, the atmosphere at a baseball game or really any live sporting event is pretty fun, especially if you're going with people that you enjoy being with. It makes it more fun, obviously, right? A lot of the baseball games I went to, some of them were spent watching the game. Some of them were spent hanging out with friends and not really paying as much attention to the games as just hanging out with friends and stuff. But it is definitely a fun time. I think if you have the opportunity to go to a baseball game, it can be a fun time. And some of them, I mean, at least here in San Diego, like, we have the stadium, which has all the seats and everything, but there's also an area of our stadium that is another park. It's a park within the baseball park, and you can actually, for like $5, you can just get into that area, still be at the baseball game, still explore the stadium, still go get food, do all these things. You just don't have a seat in the stadium. You have this like area right outside. Basically, it's right outside the outfield where you can still watch the game, but you're like in the outfield, and there is this little like outdoor park that's right on the other side of it, which is really nice. So it's very cheap to be able to go, $5, and you can get in and you can watch a baseball game, and it's not like a big investment. You don't have to go sit with a giant crowd of people. You can kind of just hang out, but still watch the game, which is fun.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of competitions and gamings, and I was trying to make a transition from it's a bad transition.
Well, it sounds like the baseball thing is good, and if it happens again, it sounds like it's a good thing overall, and you could end up with a very, very rare Pikachu.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That's cool.
I'm gonna have to become friends with Hannah's family to also get a Pikachu. This is off Pokemon.com. Make friends and evolve your skills with local Pokemon Go events in South Africa. There's a couple regions in the world. We talk about how like Korea's like always gets all like the Pokemon events. There's a couple regions in the world that don't get any Pokemon events. But this is off Pokemon.com. Players can participate in official Pokemon Go events, including league challenges and league cups. Players in South America can now take part in local play Pokemon retail locations.
South Africa.
What did I say?
South America.
Oh, my bad.
Very different place. A very different part of the world.
It's true. I have that Brazil event on my mind right now. The Pokemon trading card game events already take place in these locations, but Pokemon Go events offer players opportunity to meet other members of the community, develop skills, win prizes. Pokemon Go League challenges are competitions held regularly at game stores that host play Pokemon events. They're a small entry-level tournament on the local scale to provide a great way of understanding the fundamentals of Pokemon Go while testing your skills against other Pokemon Go players. And so this is in conjunction with the launch of Pokemon Go League activities in South Africa. The top 5 players from the Middle East and South Africa region who have earned the most championship points will also now receive invitations to the Pokemon World Championships. So that's pretty big. And we have talked about on the show very quickly, because I think that episode was running 2 hours long, how they changed the point structure of the World Championships. But they're saying top 5 players from South Africa and the Middle East will now get invites to this current, the season just started. Baltimore regionals are happening as we record this, but to the Anaheim World Championships.
I guess we don't have a whole lot of details here other than this, but the Middle East and South Africa are not that close to each other.
Yeah,
and so
I was wondering about that.
Is it 5 each? 5 from that total? And then what happens to the part of Africa that's in between South Africa and the Middle East? Because there's a lot of...
It sounds like there just aren't any sanctioned events.
Right, okay.
They just get fur, that's it. They just get that Egyptian fur, that's all.
And Tropius.
And Sigilif.
Oh yeah, and
we talked about this last week with Sigilif, like Africa getting Sigilif and
Tropius.
Oh, that's right. They do. They also get Tropius.
Be
too.
happy with your version exclusives.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it takes to expand to that. Anytime we bring up the Middle East, we always talk about like the one time there was supposed to be that Pokemon Go event in the Middle East, and then it got canceled.
Right.
So Niantic's at least tried, but I don't know who oversees that. Like I said earlier, there is a Korean specific rep. There is an Indonesia specific rep. Obviously, Japan is Japan, and then Europe is. There is that European overview, but I don't know who would be in charge of the Middle East or Africa. And I do know Pokemon is trying to make an impact in South America. We do have like a South America Internationals this time around. Which
right.
I don't know where in Brazil that is. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I guess the takeaway is like this is a start. They're taking 5 people, at least from that region, and giving them invites. So maybe this is the start. And then next year we come back around and we talk about how, okay, now they're doing 10 and now there's more events in Egypt or Cairo or whatever else is over there that I can't think of off the top of my head because now I'm very bad at geography. And
it is, this is they're talking about play Pokemon here, right? Which is not Niantic. I mean, obviously it's Pokemon Go, so Niantic is involved in that way, but this is also talking about play Pokemon, which is more associated with like the Pokemon company, and obviously sending people to the World Championships is more related to the Pokemon company as well. So that is good to see that it's not just not just Niantic, just not one company affiliated. It's like the whole Pokemon company is going this route. So maybe that does that is a positive step in the right direction.
To kind of keep on talking about competitive stuff, there is the 2025 Grand Challenge 1 online competition that also got announced. The time has come for you to earn rewards and test your skills against trainers from the championship point earning regions in Scarlet and Violet. We announced recently, in addition to the global challenge events happening this season, we are also introducing grand challenge events. These events will function similarly to global challenge, but are limited to players in the championship point earning regions. You can sign up from September 11th through September 19th. Competition will begin on September 19th and run until September 22nd. The competition is comprised of double battles using Pokemon appearing in Scarlet and Violet and the DLC. The current twist, they're saying it's a twist. Legendary Pokemon and Paradox Pokemon may not be used, and they are currently using the Regulation H rule set. Small correction from last week. I think I said Regulation H lasts 3 months. Regulation H actually lasts 4 months, so thank you to the YouTube comments for that. All the sets prior have lasted 3 months, but this one is lasting 4. You can sign up. You can earn championship points if you've linked your Nintendo account to your Trainer Club account before you register for the online competition. So if you are serious about this and you want to earn points, make sure, like, if you've already locked in and signed up and then afterwards you've linked it, that doesn't count. You have to have it linked before you submit your team and lock it in. Now, you might be listening to this podcast and not care about competitive at all. but I would encourage you to not maybe skip these parts of the podcast in the future, or at least keep your eyes on this, because these events have usually led to those shiny Pokemon that have happened in the past. So that was like shiny Zapdos, shiny Articuno, shiny Moltres from Galar were tied to these competitions, or something like this competition. And usually in the past, you would just have to do 3 matches, win or lose, but you had to like properly register. You had to get your team together, even if your team was like Lechonk, Smoliv, Charjabug. Like, you do have to participate, but then you would get the shiny Pokemon once the competition finalized and finished and results were happened. So
very worthwhile.
Oh yeah,
takes a little bit of effort if you're not used to signing up for the competitions, but very worthwhile rewards.
Yeah. So if you have nothing to do and you're just curious about the process of this, maybe just register, sign up. You don't have to really like do anything, but it at least gets you in the mindset of like when and if they do like the shiny rune treasure of runes, which might be maybe similar to the legendary birds. I'm not sure.
They do have good shinies.
They what?
They do have good shinies.
Chimpao has a wonderful shiny. So good.
So I'm just saying, keep your eyes on it, because it was about December, January, February where they started doing the shiny Galar birds. And I just remember all the people who are like, I missed it. I missed the sign up period. Because like once the competition starts, you can no longer sign up. So no rewards this time around besides points, if you care about points. But I think there will be rewards in the future, especially as we get to Anaheim Worlds, which is its own thing. So, yeah, I think that's all we have for news this week. Also for you do get rewards if you do 3 or more matches. You get 100,000 league points, a gold bottle cap, and an ability patch. So there are some rewards, even if you lose all 3 matches, you still get 100,000 league points, gold bottle cap, ability patch. It's better than nothing, but
not nothing.
They've tied Pokemon to it. They've tied backpacks to it. I remember the backpacks. So
yes, the backpacks. What a time!
What a time to be alive. And I believe Regulation H ends January 5th. And then we probably should get Paradox/Legends back. And then if that's 4 months, that takes us into like April. And then if the final, that would be Regulation I, and then Regulation J would be, am I doing my alphabet right? That would probably be 2
I and then J.
2 box legends, then going into the World Championship. So yeah, that makes sense.
And when's that Legends ZA release date? Just kidding.
Well, it is from Z to A, so maybe we're going backwards. I, H, I, J, K.
Oh no.
It's all making sense now. I understand
what the Z to A is. It's Regulation Z to A. 5 years of
we're not through the alphabet yet, Bobby. I'm just gonna say this in case I forget. If you have not redeemed Lico's Sprigatito, that ends on September 30th. That's through like the mystery gift with Pokemon Horizons. So if you have not redeemed that, you're running out of time. The Quaxley is in November, and then I think Roy's Fake Coco is like January or something. So you have plenty of time for that. But Sprigatito is ending sooner. So
yeah, twist to this is that I actually have already redeemed them.
Ooh.
So usually I'm the one that's redeeming it on September 29th, but not this time. I did it early.
Good.
All right, that's our episode for you guys. Hopefully this episode was in a structure that made sense. If you are listening early in the week, like I said, I will be streaming live in as long as everything is working tech-wise in Indonesia this upcoming weekend, and then I will be streaming in South Korea the following weekend. So if you're European, I think those are very stream-friendly times for you. And if you're American and you're a night owl, then that is also stream-friendly times for you. I suppose
Nice.
if you woke up at like 6 a.m. for work, I realistically should be live because I think that would be like 6 p.m.-ish for me. So I don't know. You should come by. You should see what Pokemon events are like in different regions because I think they're cool. Okay. I think that's our episode. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Bobby. We will see you guys next week. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super thinking about running a full team of Clefairy and Pokemon Sleep. Let's see.
So many metronomes.
Effective.